Can you
Yeah.
please give your idea about IWRM? What does it mean for you and how it can help the world?
In the year 2000, Global Water Partnership elaborated first definition of IRRM, which reads, IRRM is a process which promotes the coordinated development and management of water, land, and related resources in order to maximize the resultant economic and social welfare in an equitable manner without compromising the sustainability of vital ecosystems. I like the definition by GDP since it adequately illustrates essence of IRRM, including its character, cover area, objectives, and others. Anybody familiar with IRRM, like you, will regard the definition as reasonable and easy to understand. However, I thought this definition might be too complicated for the people unfamiliar with IRRM. So I tried to work out a simple message interpreting this definition for them. It is happiness of the people in the basin. I named this Gross Basin Happiness, or GBH, after Gross National Happiness. Using this index, you will not yield any loser in the basin. Gross national happiness was advocated by the former king of Bhutan.
What is our understanding in the Asia Pacific region on this understanding of the water cycle and especially groundwater? Because most people, because they can't see it, they really do not know as much. What is our current understanding of the groundwater in the region?
People, because it is out of sight, it's out of mind sometimes. People don't realize the importance of groundwater. And UNESCO has a unique role because the UNESCO program on groundwater is a pioneer in this respect. So we need to understand, we need to be able to map aquifers at various levels because there are micro aquifers and like the Ogallala aquifer is a huge one, but there are very small ones on which tiny villages depend for water security, both for irrigation, drinking water, and human needs, all kinds of human needs. So the first task for us is to understand what lies below the surface, just as we know what lies above the surface. That's one very important thing. The Asia Pacific Water Forum attempts to bring together all these experiences of different players from the UN system, from government, from the civil society, et cetera, to share in their knowledge and experience. And I'll come to that a little later, how we can do the sharing, because that is an important part. Not everything can be shared because some of it is contextual, but we need to understand the principles on which responsible water use is based. And we can't do that unless we factor in groundwater.
We faced a serious water shortage before the former Olympic Games held in Tokyo. So the Tokyo city was keen to get enough water for the Olympic Games. But the farmers were very reluctant to, share the water with Tokyo City. So the solution is like this: they get together and to convey water from another river to Ara River, I remember, and the Tokyo can take that water to the city dwellers. So for that, the farmers were happy to get, more safer or water. Because they faced water shortages also in farmland. So the irrigation sector and Tokyo or city municipal get together and they agreed for the better, level of the water situation.
So across the Asia Pacific, when we share our knowledge, we have to be careful about the analysis. Also, we have to be very careful about the cost of the exercise, because you can say, I want to buy a Rolls Royce, but you can only have enough money for a motorcycle. There's no point in trying to buy a Rolls Royce, you know. So the first responsibility for people sharing knowledge is to put it in the context, and the context has to take in factor social, economic, cultural, all sorts of other factors, so that people understand the applicability to different situations. That's number one. Number two is, even within one country, there can be huge variations, because people who are better off, people who are better educated, and those who are not. Just to give you an example, you asked me for examples from India. There is a movement now to understand aquifers at the local level. Now, you can map aquifers using remote sensing technology and also fun, but the granularity of that will be limited. So if you want to be really granular, there is no escaping from the fact that local people have to be involved. Now, for local people to be involved, they have to understand the science. So the science has to be doctored and tailored in such a way that they can make use of it. So it is science for the people.
There are many borders which we need to cross. The first one, very importantly, we need to bring all stakeholders together. We need to understand who are the stakeholders in a river basin. Integrated water resource management is not a new concept. Since 70s, we know it. But how do we bring this concept into implementation? And that's where the work of JWA and Professor Ota on the spiral model, bringing stakeholders together, and the grass basin happiness, that we find a better solution which is acceptable to all stakeholders and move to the next level, from planning all the way to implementation and monitoring and evaluation. And in that regard, these guidelines have been very, very useful. There are practical examples how different sectors can come in, like the sector like irrigation can come in. How do we manage floods, for example? How do we look into urban water management? So very, very practical guidelines. The work was started in 2009, still needs to continue. And we need to bring also, very importantly, the new technological advances. And that's where maybe stakeholders can have those platforms where they can see data very clearly. And very importantly, Dr. Ravi Narayan has mentioned, for our ability to be able to understand the surface water as well as groundwater, but not only for scientists, not only for water professionals, the engineers or the people who are dealing with the quantifying the flows of water, we need to bring this knowledge right to the level of the communities. And there is this interesting analogy of barefoot hydrologists, whether these are students or these are common people in a village or community, they must be able to understand what is the quantification of water and how surface and groundwater work in that area. How can we share it? How can we protect? How can we care? WASH, very important concept also, which improves our water and sanitation, very important during this time of COVID. But WASH cannot work unless we have proper understanding of the water cycle. Then very importantly, we need to work across political boundaries as well. We need to bring knowledge together, and that's where Asia Pacific Water Forum and the Asia Pacific Water Summit are very important ways for the political players as well as experts to come together and to share their knowledge and share ideas. We have learned from Professor Ota the excellent work of Japan Water Agency and the work which the network of river basin organizations is doing. We need to continue to build capacity. And in this process, we need to now use the new platforms. We need to use technologies. And how can we use online platforms for continuing our education? That's where Japan Funds and Trust, the UNESCO office in Jakarta, colleagues who are working within the APWF coordination mechanism, we will be drawing on all of them so that we can bring the educational part along with the technical part. And of course, many important organizations such as JWA who have been providing excellent knowledge and linking also with the ICID, where Mr. Ota, Professor Ota is now the honorary vice president, and for Ravi as in his role as the chair of the governing council. There is a lot more we need to do. Everyone has to play a role. And in the process, we need to develop our own understanding, and we need to give such understanding to our colleagues where we live, what we do. And also, one step at a time, we need to make sure this understanding goes at all levels. Only then we can cross technological borders, the borders between society, the economic borders, the borders which are political borders. And this has to continue. We look forward to continuing to work with you.